Welcome everyone to today's video. We're the Dimitrov-Boulay piano duo. My name is Dimitri Dimitrov.
My name is Elvira Boulay.
And in today's video, we decided to talk about handling criticism. This time, we're not, at least I'm not, going to try to make the video very short. So take a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, sit down, relax and watch this video because to me, it is extremely important to talk about the subject and I can only imagine that for you as well.
Absolutely.
For me, what's really important is that there are two types of criticism.
Mm-hmm.
One is asked for,
Mm-hmm.
and one is unasked for criticism. And so, let me explain. Actually, before I say what's asked and what's unasked criticism, I mean, it's common sense, probably you can already guess. I want to first say that generally, I think we started making the word criticism too negative. I think it starts having a very negative even I feel when somebody says criticism, I already feel that it's going to be something very judgmental and very negative. And so if you look at the word criticism on Google in the dictionary, you have one is that they say it's something like it's a disapproval of something, right? But criticism can also be an analysis or a judgment of your merits or your faults, the things that you can do better. So you can think of criticism as something very useful. What do you think about?
Well, I think that criticism has been a part of my life, our life as musicians since as long as I can remember. And for example, during our studying in the conservatory, several times a week, you would simply go, you would play, and you would be criticized. And without that, you can't improve as a musician. It is so normal. It is absolutely part of our life. So criticism in itself, no, it's not negative, but I do agree that it has a kind of a negative association.
Now, we have the asked and unasked criticism. And so I think that's very important because I don't like unasked criticism. And I can imagine many people out there and many of you viewers will not like unasked criticism. I think it's something unnatural. I think it's something that doesn't feel right. Because it's like, I'll give you an example so you understand. We play concerts. We play a lot of concerts. I've played a lot of concerts solo as well. And you would have those people that, can you imagine you play a concert, you give your best for the audience, and at the end of the concert, somebody from the public would come and tell you about your Beethoven, that the bass was not really classical style, or there was a little bit too much use of a pedal, or it could be a little lighter. It's fascinating. When I go and listen to you play, or I listen to a very famous pianist, I don't go and tell them, now listen, this passage is fine, but I think you should have done something different. Who cares what I think? I mean, who am I to go and tell the artist that he's doing this concert, putting this effort to give us something wonderful? And I would go and he never asked me for anything like that. So I think that's an asked criticism. And asked criticism is as well if you upload something online and you just want to share your music, and it doesn't matter what your level is. Why would I go and criticize you without you asking me? Why would I go and give my opinion? I don't know what you think about this, but I think unasked criticism is, I just don't like it. I think it's pointless.
It's such an interesting subject, I think, because I would say that, for example, this week for me it's been a tough week to handle criticism. And I think that in a good week, I would say like, oh, this is just their people's way of participating. They might not mean it as criticism. They might be enthusiastic to share and to kind of participate in your in your sharing the music. But when I'm having maybe a more tough week, I take it much more personal. And I think that's like taking criticism for art, especially if you're playing piano, whether that's for your teacher and your teacher gives criticism, or your audience, when it listens to you, gives you criticism. I think that because it's your art, it's your expression, you're expressing emotions, it can sometimes be really personal and difficult to hear, especially when it's not asked. Because if you ask for it, you can kind of prepare yourself. in a way that you're going to get, you can put yourself into the mood. But if it's unasked and you're just in the mood of, for example, I had a really tough day and this is me just playing my heart out, and then you get criticized, that is, I think, very, very difficult to handle sometimes.
True. So yes, my personal opinion is that unasked criticism is absolutely shit. I mean, just don't go and criticize somebody, compliment them, or just don't say anything. I mean, who are you in the first place to go and do that? I really disapprove of that anyway, because it's just...
You're critical of that?
I'm very critical of that. I have a lot of criticism towards unasked criticism. Second thing is asked criticism. Now, we clarified, we don't think of the word criticism as something bad, but I do associate it negatively when it's unasked. Now, asked criticism. Very obvious, that would be you decide to ask online or your teacher, you ask them to judge you, to evaluate you, to give you an opinion about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Now, I think there you have to really prepare that you are going to hear things. Now, your approach is very important here. I think you have to be ready to hear anything because you asked for that. Mm-hmm. And you have to approach it in a positive way that's going to, perhaps, maybe it's going to be useful and you're going to improve because of that. So that's asked criticism, because there are a lot of people out there that want lessons, that want an opinion, but at the same time they don't really want to hear what they don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. So they want an opinion, but they want the opinion they want. So you have a preference. I want to be criticized today, and I want to hear exactly what is on my mind. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's the ask criticism. I think once you decide to take lessons or ask somebody for something, I mean, be open for it. And now I'm going to get further, because that's very important how this criticism is delivered. Next point, very important, who do you want criticism for?
Yeah, that's a really important one. Yeah.
Who is going to give you criticism? In what way? That's where things start being really important. Till now we were general, we explained a few things. Now it's very important here to notice things. Since we are very involved in social media, what I see very often is you upload something online, or you upload something online, you're playing. Again, it doesn't matter. You can be an absolute beginner. You have the right to upload. You have the right to present what you're doing. Usually what happens is you're going to have a flood of comments and advice, and I'm not going to just use the word that is in my mind about this advice, but usually if you get so many different opinions, it's usually from people who don't know anything, who are not active, who are not really at the top of their game. So all this advice, the most of the comments that you're going to get are from people who are incapable. And I say this from experience and from knowledge. And the people that I know are of high quality, good professionals. They will very seldomly give you unasked criticism, or when it's asked, they're going to give it in such a good way that it's not going to feel like a criticism. It's going to feel like a motivation, inspiration, a very well analytical approach to how and what you have to improve, and you're going to feel good about that. That's, I think, is very important to be able to distinguish the professionals, the good advice, the good criticism from the bad criticism, because a lot of people are desperate to give you their point of view, and that can come from so many that can come from lack of knowledge, from lack of understanding of, they even don't know what they're talking about. I don't know how you feel about
some
that.
people aren't even pianists. I mean, really, it goes very far, and I think that is one of the absolute most important things, you know, when you're taking criticism from somebody, know who you're taking it from.
Yeah, 100%
I think
agree.
that is one of the most important things.
Because the majority of criticism that's going to come online if you upload something is going to be from people that don't know what they're talking about. And it might make sense, but it might ruin your playing, because it can be connected to so many things. but a professional is going to have a very different approach.
Yeah, and I also think most people, I very, very rarely give unasked criticism. I would say that very rarely. I mean, I have done it sometimes. If I really see somebody struggling, even if they didn't ask for it. But it's very rare, and I think that most professionals would not give unasked criticism because they simply know the journey you have to go through.
Absolutely.
They know what guts it takes also to upload whatever of your playing, whatever level you are, if you're a beginner, if you're advanced. They know what it takes to practice a piece, they know what it takes to upload a piece and share that. So I think that a lot of people who went through that road themselves, be it professionals or be it very good amateurs, they would not give easily unasked criticism. So that's also something to realize. Most people who give unasked criticism would be the people who would do the fewest themselves and have achieved the fewest themselves. Not always, of course, there's exceptions, but I think it's something good to realize.
Generally, that's the direction. So you better be careful with that. In general, when you see very easily comments under your playing, people coming and easily telling you things, you have to question their, what was the word? Not credentials, but you have to question there was a word about their knowledge or whatever. I can't find the word. But I think what's going to help you handle criticism is to know that when criticism comes from somebody who is really good at what they do, as a teacher, as a professional, as a pianist, the criticism is not going to feel like a criticism. Criticism is never going to put you down. At least that's my understanding. I'm 100% sure that's your understanding as well. I don't like, and I will never ever criticize my students in a way, or people in a way that they feel bad about their playing. Not at all. The whole point is to encourage, to understand what you're going through, to understand what you can do, and to help you in such a way that you feel that if you change those few things, you're going to get even better. That's what criticism, how I would end my point, what I thought about is how it comes across. And I don't mean from just online somebody typed something. I mean really when you have contact with that person, or the videos that you watch, or lesson one-on-one is the best way to understand how somebody teaches. If a criticism towards your playing comes in a way that's just a comment thrown just out there and you don't know what to do with it, that's not good. But if a criticism comes very analytical, really looking at what your problem is and helping with something very useful, or the teacher explaining things to you, why something works, how it works, why it doesn't work that way, you're never going to feel bad. And that to me is what helps also handling criticism, because criticism shouldn't put you down. Criticism should lift you up and motivate you to take that next step.
I think there's many more things to say about criticism, and I think many more tips that we can give you on how to handle, because we've been handling criticism for all our life pretty much. You're just very, you get a very hard skin as a musician, of course. But yeah, I think that's great for now. And let us know your thoughts, and let us know if you've been struggling with criticism yourself. And
Absolutely. As always, feel free to comment below, positive or negative, whatever you want. And
or criticize the video.
Criticize
Unasked.
the videos.
No, we asked now, so.
Anyway, we plan also your comments. Keep in mind that whenever you give us comments here or on Facebook, we put them on the agenda for future videos. We can't, of course, shoot right away everything. But we are very, very grateful for your interaction and your comments. And we are very happy to see the YouTube channel growing step by step. So that's wonderful. As always, for us, it's a great pleasure to record this video. See you next week. Yeah, I think this was a useful video in a way, at least to me. I'd watch it.